Okay, hello, good morning. Today is the date of September 10th, 2024. My name is Shantae. I go by Shawnteoutloud, and I'm going to be talking about the Pisces astrology, the Pisces eclipse astrology, excuse me, lunar eclipse astrology. That is taking place next week. So, before we get started, as always, I just want to kind of go ahead and drop some credentials. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube or on Patreon payback, you guys are going to get a lot more in terms of actually getting to look at the chart and go over kind of how I and other astrologers are coming to picture this. For those of you who are listening through Twitter Spaces, you're going to kind of miss out on that, but it will be uploaded to my YouTube page, shawnteoutloud.com, later this week. So that way, everybody, kind of all bases are covered, so to speak. I have been practicing astrology for the last 12 years. I've been public with my practice the last 5. I've been in Cosmopolitan. I've been in Shondaland on shondaland.com. I've had accounts, or excuse me, I've worked as a contractor with Stylecaster. I've worked as a contractor with horoscope.com. So I am the real deal. If you're listening to this, like, who does she think she is? She knows she's that girl, just in case you weren't clear. So to kind of start talking about this Virgo Pisces kind of beginning of this energy, because that's essentially what this Pisces new moon is, this or full moon is, eclipse. This Pisces full moon eclipse is very much an introduction to what we can expect to manifest over the course of 2025 to 2027 as we are in the midst of this energy of Pisces and Virgo. And so what we're dealing with is we got to always, anytime we're talking about, first of all, eclipses. I love eclipses. Those of you who have been following my work for years know that, like, I go up for eclipses. I just love the energetic shift. I love the transformation they come with. I love the speed bumps that turn into Ten of Pentacles. So I'm always happy to discuss anything having to do with eclipses. And this eclipse is not any different. First of all, in the midst of this eclipse, we're talking about major celestial energy. So whenever we're talking about the moon and the moon is involved, you can understand that the public is going to be involved, that people's emotions, emotional responses, their physical body, mental connection is going to be extremely strong. So people are going to be a little bit more emotional than usual. This is even more so true because this lunar eclipse will be in the sign of Pisces, and Pisces be in their feelings. So this is a period where I'm recommending everybody make sure that they're just being mindful of what other people are experiencing and going through. Also, bear in mind, while for some, depending on where you fall in terms of how many degrees make an aspect, some might find that this planetary energy does fall in that conjunction with Saturn and Pisces, and does fall in that, obviously, opposition to the Virgo energy that's going to be at hand. And we'll go into more of those aspects when we get there. But this is going to be a major part. It has a major part to play in the overall way that this will show up. Now, with Pisces and Virgo, we again are doubling down because Pisces and its moon energy, Pisces is a sign that has a lot to do with suffering and suffrage. So this could be a period where emotional suffering does feel really heavy and really powerful for you. I want to talk more about that mind-body connection as well, because we are going to be in Virgo season. This is a sign that is very body and health conscious, right? When they're operating as their best. And so this could be a time where various health ailments start to kind of manifest themselves for you as a result of this eclipse energy and how it's kind of showing up. So do be mindful of that. Now, to talk about Pisces and Virgo, especially from a health perspective, we have to think about what Pisces and Virgo rule. Well, Pisces rules the feet. So this could be a period where it's a good idea to go get, a reflexology massage. It could be good for you. I know that they do like those detox massages detox like pedicures where you can get all the toxins stripped out of you, that would be a really beneficial thing to do at this time. The same can be said for hydrocolonics. Going and doing a physical detox in your body, fasting, going on a water fast or a cleanse of some kind. It doesn't need to be done, because that Virgo energy can really make you feel like I got to solve this problem right now. I've got to go to the highest degree to get this problem solved. And even if it kills me, do not believe that. That is not a fact. Don't kill yourself, but do be aware of that connection. Something that has also been, as I've looked up, Judith Hill is one of the best references you're ever going to find in your life for medical astrology. Here, for those of you who are watching this, you can see my medical astrology book by Judith Hill. It's excellent. And she lays out a lot of information about what we can experience when planets are at certain degrees of a sign, down to, the modality of the sign and what that represents for on a physical level for us. And when we're talking about Pisces and Virgo, we're talking about mutable energy. We're talking about energy that moves us, right? Mutables walk us into the next stage, the next season, even more than that. So when we're thinking about Virgo energy, many of you already know this, but we're talking about the stomach. We're talking about the gut, the digestive system, also the way that the nervous system impacts the digestive system. When we're talking about Pisces, many of you might know this as well. We're talking about the feet, right? These are both areas of our bodies, major areas of our bodies that represent traveling. We know that our body, our digestive system, and its ability to travel makes up for a lot more of our lives, and even more so our livelihoods, than we're always given an opportunity to be aware of, right? If we are not functioning from a place that is good in our gut, we will literally walk into bad decisions, but we will also we can be debilitated by them, right? Stomach ailments and stomach issues are debilitating in a lot of different ways. And a lot of this month altogether is really cautioning, when I'm reading Judith Hill's book, is really cautioning, how often you're eating out, what you're eating when you're eating out. Colitis is something that comes up. So being mindful of where you're getting your food from when you are choosing to go out. Being mindful of how, your stomach affects the decisions you make. What does your body tell you? And this is doubling down because we know that Mars is in Cancer and the energy is affecting, we also have Pisces energy, obviously overall arcing this entirety of this transit. So there's this heavy emphasis with the Virgo, the Cancer, and the Piscean energy on the gut, on the womb, on the stomach, and really on what we keep and what we let go of, i.e. the Piscean kind of energy, right? So this is a time where I was meditating on this morning, and what came to me was, it's time for you to stop pretending that you are an innocent bystander in your own suffering, right? That's really what it is. That victimhood, all of that shit that you do, that you put on, that martyrism, that, oh, it just had to be me. It's always has to be me. I'm always this. Ain't nobody, no one cares. And you are probably going to have a pretty stark realization coming into you. I'm like getting hot. Sorry, I'm doing my makeup and I'm under this light. You're probably going to have a stark realization come towards you over the course of this transit. If you are a person who hangs on to the fact that they are a victim, who always feels like it's, people are always, you're just always at the behest of other people. People are always hurting you. You can't trust anyone. It is all mirroring with this energy, and it is all hypercritical. Understanding that because our emotions are going to be very heightened during this eclipse, we will be hyper emotional and hypercritical of those emotions, because the sun in Virgo is like, yeah, feelings, but look at facts. Here's what the facts have laid out. And the reason that you're experiencing these feelings is because of these facts. And coming to terms with what those facts are for you and as it applies to your life is going to be really, really you know, an important part of getting to understand the process that is this eclipse season in Pisces and Virgo, that is this eclipse series in Pisces and Virgo, that's going to exist for the next couple of years we've got going now. So kind of moving into how this eclipse manifests, right? Well, we're talking about a North Node in Pisces eclipse because we're getting an indicator for what that's going to be. That's not going to officially move until next year, but this is the first of what we're going to experience as we begin the experience, right? So as we're kind of moving through that, we've got to think about what planets are at, you know, the forefront here. So everything having to do with Pisces is where this energy is. So we're dealing with Jupiter, the ruler of Pisces. And in Virgo, we're dealing with Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, right? Well, Mercury and Jupiter have a lot to learn from each other. I usually always say, you know, Mercury is like, hey, Jupiter, you can't build a house because you just got a whole bunch of wood pieces and 4 screws. And Jupiter says to Mercury, well, guess what? You also can't build a house with a million little screws and tiny pieces and 4 sticks of wood. This is how we can think about how this energy needs to blend together, right? In order to be able to meet the bottom line, we're going to have to take a little bit of that critique that Virgo offers up. We're going to have to take a little bit of that fact that Virgo offers up. And we're going to have to actually do something that is maybe not in our first nature. Once again, if we're comfortable being the victim, if we're comfortable, you know, being avoidant, that's a Piscean theme. If we're comfortable pretending that certain things don't bother us and aren't offensive to us, we're going to find ourselves where? In the act of people pleasing. And ultimately, people pleasing disrupts your nervous system, i.e. the Virgo energy I'm talking about. This is where that stomach and foot connection is really going to come into handy, okay? So then when we move on past that, we also got to think about Jupiter's placement right now in the zodiac. And Jupiter is currently where? In Gemini, where it is in detriment, right? Jupiter don't want nothing to do with Gemini, and Gemini don't want nothing to do with Jupiter. And this is because Gemini wants to collect the small little facts, and Jupiter's like, no, but what is it? What's that? What knowledge is it bringing you? Where's it actually going to take you past this little moment of, wow, this is an aha moment, and flitting off to the next thing? So half of this transit is going to be spent with the North Node compromised by it's Jupiter's presence, its planetary ruler, Pisces being ruled by Jupiter in Gemini. Now, the second half of this transit is going to be beautiful because Jupiter will be in Cancer where it's exalted. So it's going to get really great energy in the way that it's, you know, going to turn out. That's not going to happen until midway through 2025. So in the here and now, we are going to really need to address the Piscean and Jupiterian themes of overindulgence, overenmeshment, right? The Mercurial themes of hypercritique, of oversimplifying, of kind of saying, oh yeah, we're the same with people who we actually have nothing similar with or in common with, and really starting to take responsibility for what we say we believe in, what we have faith in, who we believe ourselves to be. This is going to bring a lot to the forefront for everybody. This Piscean energy, Pisces Virgo eclipse is partially going to affect, obviously, you if you have Pisces and Virgo planets and signs. Pisces and Virgo energy, though, is going to be affected anywhere between 20 to 29 degrees. So if you've got a 25-degree, you know, Pisces moon, you're going to be eclipsed really hard because it's literally at 25 degrees. If you have a Virgo sun at 25, between, you know, 20 and 29 degrees, you're probably going to be eclipsed as well, because that's just the nature of the energy that's showing up right now. This also stands for my other mutables. So Gemini and Sagittarius, between 20 and 29 degrees, you're being eclipsed in some capacity. Where that energy is going to fall in your chart is dependent, of course, on your chart, which we'll get into. My cardinal signs, there's a lot of opportunity I think you have. So if you have Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn placements within these degrees, you have a lot of opportunity coming to you. You get to make things happen for you. Like it really is going to work out well. Fixed degrees have a little bit less at stake here potentially, but they might have a little something. It just kind of depends on how movable you're willing to be, because that's the nature of the mutability of the planets here. Now, when we really start to stop and think about the way that this eclipse shows up, it shows up in service, right? We're talking about Pisces and Virgo. So the service sector is at the helm here. And what Pisces will do, and Virgo, right? What they have in common is over-serving, self-sacrifice. So Virgo, it's a little less, I think Virgo can be a little less open-minded, open about their self-sacrifice. Pisces, we kind of expect it out of, right? We expect a Pisces to be a little self-sacrificial, but both of them do. Think about how much Virgo helps. Like I have a Virgo boss and he just helps me all day long. And I'm like, wow, how do you, like, I would love to be a fly on the wall of like how you create the space in your life for yourself, because you have so many people who need you and you somehow make yourself available, feel like you're available to meet all of the needs that people have of you. And this can be done by both, like I said, Pisces and Virgo's placements, that I have to show up for them. I have to show up for them. I have to show up for them. And it doesn't allow a lot of space for people to show up for you. It doesn't allow a lot of space for you to show up for yourself. Because what it usually ends up happening with Pisces and Virgo placements is they will try to put a boundary down and then receive so much flack and shit for it that they don't even know what to do, and ultimately will succumb to the people pleasing again, when a lot of times it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. You said you were going to get tired and people don't respect your boundaries, and you didn't respect yours either, and you're people. So being mindful of what you are communicating outwardly to the world and how you are allowing people to, what place you're willing to be in people's lives. We all have responsibilities to ourselves and to the community, but that doesn't mean it has to cost us everything. And that's a big, big part of this. Now, some other interesting parts, I want to kind of move into the actual aspects of this eclipse. One of the toughest ones, I think, is Saturn opposite Mercury. Saturn and Mercury in opposition are never going to be a fun planet, because it's usually going everywhere but where we'd like it to go. Because Mercury travels, right? Mercury loves to move. With Mercury and Virgo, it's comfortable in its movement. It's like, I do this. This is how I move. This isn't hard for me. This isn't weird for me. I do this, in my sleep. But the problem is, energetically, there's not a whole lot of space as we're moving through the course of this eclipse for people to be hearing you, or for you to hear others. Usually with Mercury opposite Saturn, a lot of times what ends up happening is a harsh communication, an abrupt stop, right? Mercury can travel everywhere. That's the best thing about the planet Mercury is one thing astrologers are always saying is like, Mercury is the only planet that can go everywhere and low-key be good everywhere it goes. Like, it's not a planet that struggles when it pulls up other places. Because the nature of Mercury is dualistic, right? It can do anything and be anywhere. Well, in these circumstances, we end up finding that sometimes that being able to do anything, go anywhere, is detrimental to our actual destination and our ability to get there. So this can maybe feel like a, oh shit, I am hearing something, I am experiencing something where I have nowhere else to go, but exactly where this information is leading me. There are no, it's almost like there are no second chances. There are no, this is it. This is your bottom line. And you've got to now sit with what your reality is. Mercury opposite Saturn. Then we've got Venus opposite Chiron here. So Venus is still in Libra. And so naturally we're feeling like, oh, look, we're agreeable people. We want to give people a chance to be reliable, to show up for us. We want to show up for people, more people pleasing, right? This is a very people-y eclipse if I haven't said people enough times for you yet. Well, the opposition is in Chiron, in Aries. And people are good and all, but this is Aries energy, baby. And what does Aries energy want, value more than anything? The ability to stand up for itself, to fight for itself, to be itself, to take ownership of itself, to be like, yeah, that was me. I did that. That's all very Aries. And so with Venus opposite Chiron, we could come to terms with like, oh, that person that I thought I could build a thing with, that person that I was interested in, connecting with, that person who I maybe have shared a connection with, is not really my friend. Actually not someone worth connecting to. It's actually not someone worth being towards. This can also speak to, because Venus in Libra is not just people connections, but our connections to things, right? Is my connection to this thing actually setting me up for the success that I want to have, for the experiences that I'm interested in indulging in, right? The moon will be conjunct Neptune. Now, this is decent for kind of having those moments of great healing, for having those moments of deep realizations. Wow, I never would have thought this had I not experienced that. Wow, I've come so far from where I've been. And if I look ahead, I think I've got a real nice long way to go. And I'm excited for the future. It's also an opportunity to look at what you've created. And if you're in a place where you're looking and you don't love what you've created, this is your opportunity to rewrite the story. So that's mostly what I want to say about this eclipse. I don't really want to go on and on. Oh, I do want to talk about one more thing. Jupiter will also be squaring Saturn. This can be really important for some of you who had maybe a weird mid-August. Jupiter squaring Saturn is one of those aspects where it's like, okay, I just thought this, baby, this is what you came for. You ever be like, I always see Jupiter square Saturn. My patrons have heard this a million times, but it's like, this is what you said you wanted, right? Don't say it's too much now. This is exactly what the doctor ordered. That's kind of what this energy is giving. And also, I want to kind of end with the square to the North Node between Mars and the North Node. So Mars in Cancer is squaring the North Node in Aries and South Node in Libra. And Mars in Cancer does, at its core, seek to, release and remove anything that is not bringing the nurturing energy into the fold that it wants to experience. Which can sometimes mean that things fall by the wayside that are not actually bringing us security, comfort, and an opportunity to set ourselves up for success. This is important to think about when we think about the square that Aries energy makes to Cancer energy. I think of it like, is it Lady and the Tramp where, you know, the mom dog is cleaning off the puppy with, you know, her spit. It's like, well, if you want to be presentable to the world, you know, you can't go outside with eye boogies. And the kid hates it, and the kid is doing everything they can to like, you know, stop the mom moment. It's so gross. Come on, mom. So not cool. All the stuff and things. But the mom doesn't care because you say you want this thing, you say you want to look this way, you say you wanted to go to this place, well, you need to look the part. Mars square North Node is going to ask for you to cut things out of your life, cut things out of the way that you know, your process, that are not going to actually get you what you say you want. They're not going to actually bless you to set you up for the success that you're saying you're interested in having. And that's the thing to remember. Are you actually interested in having the success you say you want? Because this is where the South Node in Virgo energy is going to come into play. Yes, destiny, right? If you subscribe to this idea that Piscean magic and, you know, things happen for a reason, and, you know, I was given this ethereal or spiritual gift to do this and use it for that. Hey, that's really great. Super happy for you and excited. Guess what? With gifts come responsibility. Being gifted is not enough. Just being able to gift yourself and do right by yourself is not going to be able to actually give you the experiences that you want to have. You're going to need to do a little bit more work than that. So for those of you who are on YouTube, you are actually able to see the eclipse energy, or the actual post now of the picture of the chart itself. I thought it was funny that this chart is an Aries rising. So it really doubles down on the need to get rid of, to kind of take ownership, right? This energy is falling in the 6th and the 12th house. These are cadent houses in the chart. So the 6th house and the 12th house of the chart have a lot to do with what we hold on to and what we let go. And what is our driving force, I would say, right? Because the 6th house is that conscious stuff. It's the conscious thought. It's the things that we do when we're fully lucid, so to speak. That's how, you know, you get to work every day. That's how you do your daily tasks, whatever those may be. That's what a lot of that energy is. Well, when we talk about Piscean energy, we're then talking about what unconsciously drives us, right? Going back to the stomach and the feet point that I was making earlier. You see how it all kind of comes back around. If you know that you're not supposed to do something, it's like what people usually talk about. You know how you get a bad feeling about going somewhere and you're like, yeah, no, I'm going to stay home. Well, the opposite of that is what? Oh, yeah, well, I don't feel that great about that. I'm going to go. What happens when you set yourself up for those kinds of incidents in your life? They're usually regrettable, right? Shit, I knew I shouldn't have come to this motherfucker. And now look at you, looking crazy. I knew I shouldn't have trusted. I knew I shouldn't have, because you defied your logic, you defied your intuition, and it's leaving you none the wiser in your experiences. So sorry. Is that what you want to set yourself up for as we move over to the next couple of years? It's about taking responsibility to recognize the patterns that are unconsciously driving your reality, your real lived experiences. So I hope you loved it. I hope you loved this conversation. I'm going to get out of the spaces and focus now on the Patreon, YouTube, and kind of go through moving through the houses a little bit. If you liked what you heard and you're like, damn, I have these placements really close to these signs, to these signals, please consider hitting the link in my bio, visiting the consultation inquiry form, and booking a Pisces Virgo eclipse astrology reading. They are currently $55. And I am only taking them now. Today is Tuesday through Friday. So you have between the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th to go ahead and send that email, send that consultation inquiry form, and get started, because I am not taking anything after that Friday. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for listening, Twitter. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, so back to you. So to talk more a little bit about the cadent houses. So in my opinion, when I look at cadent houses in astrology, these are going to be houses 3. These are going to be houses 6. This is going to be house 9. And this is going to be house 12. Those are cadent houses. And to me, cadent houses is how we move through life, how we move through our existence, how we move through our reality. Primarily, the 3rd house here starts off kind of the motion. The 3rd house is what shows us what we find interest in, what we are capable of, where we do kind of where we initially start that thought process that's going to lead us to the 6th house, right? And the 6th house is that day to day. So if your 3rd house is, okay, I woke up in the morning and I needed to start my day, to get out of bed. I know that I need to get out of bed by 5:30 a.m. in the morning. So the 6th house is the why, right? Okay, so I've experienced getting out of bed at 5:30 in the morning, and I realize that when I do that, I can go to the gym and get all my work done, my workouts done. I realize that when I do that, I feel a lot more clear-headed. It gets me a start on my water intake for the day. I'm able to eat breakfast and not have to wait for other people. I'm capable of, accomplishing a lot more. And what does that mean out of me but 9th house energy, right? And the 9th house has a lot to do with our commitments, what we build and what we take with us. So it all starts in the 3rd house. You tried to explore something. This knowledge leads you where, right? Leads you to new opportunities for growth, opportunities for you to level up and travel. You get refined in the 9th house. That's what I always think about when it comes to the 9th house. There's a refinery here. It's almost like that's why the 9th house has a lot to do with, going to college, right? Or going even to grad school or something. We're refining the knowledge that we already have in a specialized way. Then we move into house 12. And house 12 is about our subconscious. It's about what we keep. And when we get to the 12th house and the subconscious and what we keep, we recognize what drives us. Where are we getting a lot of our information from? And it has to do with what? Our past experiences, how we felt about them, whether or not we were capable of integrating them positively or negatively. And a lot of times with the 12th house, those are your bad habits. Those are the secret, the house of undoing, right? Those are the things about yourself that do take you out. Not to say that other people aren't involved in them, but you too are a person who is willing to, invest in their own suffering in the 12th house. That is what that shows up as. I have Pluto in the 12th house, and I always think about it how, like, one of my biggest life just decisions and affirmations is nobody's going to give me a bad time but me. And I say that because it's true. I know that, like, there's things that are going to happen and whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm the only person who directs the flow of how I feel about what happens to me and how much I engage in what happens to me, right? Because the karma of me being that Pluto's in the 12th house for me has a lot to do with what I put out into the world. So when I'm not ritualizing my life, when I'm not maintaining cleanliness, when I'm not maintaining a good spirit and a good attitude, things start to break off and fall apart. When I'm not working out, when I'm not keeping myself comfortable, things like that start to fall apart. When I'm not invested in my own power, right? Another Plutonian aspect. So these are things to think about. And really, because we're talking about cadent houses, again, I want you to think about your day-to-day. Are there things and driving factors of your day-to-day that are maybe driving you in the wrong direction? Are there things in your day to day that are taking you away from your mission, taking you away from your purpose, taking you away from your own sense, your own direction, taking you away from your destiny? And it's possible that what takes place over the course of this eclipse is really going to solidify that. You're going to get on your own nerves a little bit. And be mindful that it might kind of show up through other people. Someone's getting on your nerves, it's because maybe they're doing something that it might be because they're doing something that you do to you. And it's possible it's time for some self-interrogation about why you treat yourself that way and why you do those things if you know that they don't serve your best interests at heart. So yeah. Now, for those of you, say you are a mutable rising, right? So you are a Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Gemini placement. So for you, this energy is a little bit different. This energy is actually showing up in your angular areas of your chart. So this would be houses 1, houses 4, houses 7, and houses 10. So this might have a lot to do with you and, you know, how you are showing up in your own life. Oh God, this is stuck. Okay. How you're showing up in the public in your own life is a big part of it. This might coincide with like maybe a change at work, a change within your current family dynamic, a change within your family unit, a change within the way that you relate to other people. Maybe you, decide that you're trying to relate to people in a more deeper or intimate way. Maybe you're trying to find better ways to get in touch with yourself. And in order to do that, you need to set out to find a teacher or a mentor of some kind who's going to make that possible for you. Maybe in the midst of this energy, you are like, you know what? I've always wanted to try this type of career. I've always had interest in doing this thing. I'm going to really light a fire under myself and figure out how to do it. But it's going to need to come from you. If you are a mutable rising, whatever comes up is being initiated for you to make a choice for yourself about your life. And finally, my fixed signs. You guys have this energy falling in the succession houses of your chart. So this is houses 2. This is going to be house 5, house 8, and house 11. So these are the areas of our chart that have to do with values. So what you value, who you value, and how you value, and what it means for your outer experiences, your goals, your passions, is going to come into display during this eclipse series. Are you getting what you actually said you want? Or are you just taking what is being given to you? Do you actually know what you value? Do you actually know your talents? Do you actually know what you want to invest yourself in? Do you know how to create the resources to bring you the abundance that you're seeking? Do you know how to connect with the people who are going to bring you the things that you say you want, who are going to help you build greater networks of support for others? How do you go about doing that? So there's a lot that's taking place with this eclipse. I'm really excited about it because, like I said, I love eclipses. They are intense, and I like intense stuff. If you liked what you heard, please consider becoming a patron. They have kind of already had this information for a while. This will be uploaded to YouTube like 4 or 5 days after it goes to Patreon. So, get on there. Hit the link in my bio to fill out a consultation inquiry form, or go to Shawnteoutloud.com and contact me directly and be like, hey girl, I want to get booked. I'm only taking these Pisces and Virgo consultations until Friday. So if you're seeing this on YouTube, you probably aren't going to get a chance to book with me for this one, but the next eclipse will be on October 2nd. So that might be your time to check me out. But anyway, I'm done with my makeup. I need to get dressed. Thank you so much. Am I pretty now? Thank you so much for being here. And I will talk to you guys soon.